gavel?
I don't know.
That's okay.
I don't
We can just verbally. It's okay.
Yeah.
That's okay. No, that's not a meeting. We can just convene it verbally.
Don't make me feel lame. I'll leave work for a while.
Hello, everybody. Today's June 30th. We're gonna go ahead at 6 p.m. We're gonna go ahead and open this meeting up. First of all, we'll do we're gonna go do a pledge of allegiance to begin with. Sandra, would you please?
Okay,
Do the pledge?
absolutely. You can stand if you can. Ready? Face the flag. Ready? Begin.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you.
Okay.
You want to do a roll call?
Yes, ma'am. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Takayama,
Here.
Commissioner Hernandez,
Present.
Chair Baez.
Present.
We have a quorum, Chair.
Okay. Do we have any comments today? Comment cards?
Yes, Chair, we have one public speaker card. Speaker is William Moreno. You may come to the stand.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is William Moreno. I live in District 4. My family has been in that, well, my mother has been in that house since the 60s. So it's easy to say that we've seen quite a bit of change in that area. I'm at North Spruce, 10th Street. That's our neighborhood. But over the last 2 years, we've had an issue with people making left-hand turns onto North Spruce Street from coming east from Beverly, West Beverly, which is in front of the Chase Bank. I have copies of the memo I sent, but I guess, I don't know if everybody got it. It's got pictures and little graphics and stuff, but I'll just explain what the issue is, and I guess it'll get circulated to you later. In that last several years, we've had several accidents. I had a beautiful Saab Swedish car that I had preserved, and I was making a right-hand turn onto North Spruce Street, and a young kid, of course, no insurance, no nothing, slammed into me. Now, because it was a non-injury accident, it doesn't get reported. And those accidents on that corner are constant. It's at least every other week. And the neighbors all run out, they go to see what's going on, the barbershop comes out, there's a senior center right there who's tried to reinforce their fence, I think. But it's an issue, and it needs to be fixed. And my suggestion is we put a permanent barrier, probably landscaped, that goes the length of West Beverly, not quite as far as 10th Street, but because I know that's a very busy corridor. But something needs to be done to prevent people from trying to make a left turn forever. So that's my request. Because somebody's going to get hurt, seriously. It affects our quality of life. It affects the neighbors. They see the sounds, and nobody wants to be dealing with that all the time. I have copies of the letter, but I'm not going to read it verbatim. The other issue, and it's not an issue, but I guess there's a plan to redo Montebello Boulevard. That's also our neighborhood. And we've heard nothing. As far as I know, none of the neighbors have heard anything about that plan. And that's another sore point. It's become a freeway. After 7 o'clock, it's a freeway. It's a racing, drag racing. So what we're looking for is something to mitigate the speed, cameras, permanent cameras put down the corridor of that entire street. It looks horrible. I mean, there's no landscaping, there's no attempt to make the street look better. People live there. It's not a freeway off-ramp.
Excuse me.
Yes.
Your time's up right now. Sorry
Okay.
about that.
So that's a summary of what I have to say about that. So do you want me to leave copies of this for you?
And just Mr. Moreno, and just for the general public, we did receive your email. Usually, we need some time to kind of analyze the situation. Yeah, like you or any resident that sends us any inquiry regarding any traffic issues, it gets assigned to our staff.
Right.
They do an analysis, and then it gets brought back to the traffic commission. And on both items, they're separate items, so we'll treat them the same, and then we'll contact you, letting you know kind of what
Yeah, I
the next
appreciate
steps
it.
are, okay?
Thanks for paying attention to it, Mr. Heim.
Thank you, sir.
Thank-
Do I have anyone else?
No,
Any
we
other
have no more public comment at this time, Chair.
Okay, we're gonna move forward. We're gonna go back to approving the minutes of the 28th of April. Motion to approve?
I make the motion.
I second that.
We have a motion to approve the April 28, 2025 Traffic and Safety Commission meeting minutes. I will now commence roll call. Commissioner Takayama?
Yes.
Commissioner Hernandez?
Yes.
Chair Bass?
Yes.
The motion passes.
Okay, we'll go to the next item. For this meeting is. Montebello separation. Montebello Boulevard grade separation project, Olympic and Boulevard and Montebello Boulevard.
Yeah. Item number 2 is Montebello Boulevard Grade Separation Project. We have a presentation from Carrie Insiang from the San Gabriel Valley COT.
Go ahead. Oh, no, go ahead, sit there, no problem.
Good evening, Chair Baz and Commissioners. My name is Carrie Insiang. I'm a civil engineer, and I work for the San Gabriel Valley Council of Governments. And I'm here to request a couple of items from your commission. But before I do that, let me go ahead and give you my presentation. So what you see before us is the title slide. And my presentation tonight, I'm sorry, let me just bring up my slide. My presentation tonight is to request approvals to, number 1, close Olympic Boulevard in both directions at Montebello Boulevard for the bridge construction associated with our project. And number 2, we are requesting to install a temporary stop sign at Greenwood Avenue and Truck Way. Next slide, please. There. Thank you. So I'm going to give you a little bit of a background on who we are and what the project is about, just in case you haven't heard about our agency yet. The San Gabriel Valley Council of Governments is a joint powers authority comprised of 31 cities that you see highlighted on the map. It includes the city of Montebello. It includes a couple of LA County supervisorial districts and also water districts that are in the San Gabriel Valley. Next slide, please. Embedded within the San Gabriel Valley Council of Governments is a construction authority. We were known as the Alameda Corridor East Construction Authority. What you see before you is a graphic that shows in red, those are the Union Pacific Railroad corridors that run east-west through LA County. Montebello is dissected, as you know, by the UPRR corridor. That's the Los Angeles subdivision corridor. And both of these rail corridors transport freight to and from the 2 ports, the Port of LA and the Port of Long Beach. The importance of the 2 ports, as we have seen recently in the news, is that actually the 2 ports together comprise about 40% of the nation's imports that we receive. And the 2 ports also transport about 25% of the nation's exports that leave our country. So there's a lot of volume that goes out of those 2 ports. The freight that comes through the Port of LA and the Port of Long Beach leaves those ports either on trucks or on trains. If they leave through trains, they go up the green line that you see there called the Alameda Corridor. And then from there, they go eastward through the corridors that you see highlighted in red and in blue. So the importance of the two corridors highlighted in red is that 16% of the nation's imports pass through those freight corridors. So there's a lot of freight coming in. There's a national significance to the rail that dissects Montebello. So what we're trying to do with our project, with the grade separation of Montebello Boulevard, is to ease traffic congestion at that intersection. Next, please. I know this is a very busy graphic, but this is just a graphic that shows all of the grade separations and railroad crossing improvements that the Alameda Corridor East, or the ACE project, has completed in the last 20 or so years. What you see highlighted in blue there is Montebello. That's Montebello, Turnbull, and Fullerton, which are 3 projects highlighted in blue. Those are projects that are currently under construction by the Alameda Corridor East Construction Authority. Next, please. So a little bit of background on the Montebello project itself, in case you haven't seen any previous presentations or open house or anything like that. The Montebello project is actually a corridor project. What you see here is an aerial. So going from east to west, highlighted in green, that's the grade separation. It's an underpass that we're building, where Montebello Boulevard will go under the Union Pacific tracks and under Olympic. And then next, going westward, is Greenwood Avenue. We're going to be installing safety crossing. We're going to be installing safety improvements at the crossing there, which is a new ped gate, new signals, new lights, new railroad arms. And then at Maple, we're doing the same thing that we're doing at Greenwood, but we're also installing quad gates, so 4 arms coming down. And then at Vale Avenue, we're doing essentially the same thing as Greenwood. The purpose of the improvements at Greenwood, Maple, and Vale is to improve safety for the traveling public and pedestrians. It'll also prevent cars from going around. When the railroad arms are down, it will prevent cars from going around those railroad arms to try and beat the trains. Next, please. This is an artist's rendering of what the completed underpass is going to look like. This is looking north. You see that Roosevelt Avenue will be realigned. It's going to take a dog leg, and we'll meet Montebello Boulevard at a new signalized intersection. We're building 2 new bridges, 1 bridge for the Union Pacific tracks and another bridge for Olympic. Truckway will no longer intersect Montebello. There's going to be a cul-de-sac there in that location. We're also building a pump station, a new bike lane, new sidewalks, new ped walkways to go along with the improvements. Next, please.
Really quick question, if you don't mind going back to, so just so commissioners, so if I'm reviewing it correctly, this is like a walking path, right? That you're going to be building there on the right-hand side?
There's going to be...
Yeah?
Yeah, there's going to be a walking path under Montebello on the, I want to say, east side of the street. And it's going to come up. So as you're going through the underpass, it's going to come up. It's going to be a meandering walkway due to the slope. It'll come up and meet Olympic.
So commissioners, just, the real goal is to eliminate all traffic, pedestrian, intersecting at all with the railroad. So that's ultimately what you're going to see there.
Yeah, we've had, according to what we've seen from the Federal Railroad Administration, we've had 3 recorded accidents, or was it 3 recorded fatalities at this intersection? So this grade separation eliminates all possibility of train and car collisions or train and pedestrian collisions while actually improving the movement of cars, first responders, north-south through Montebello. What you see here is an aerial shot taken with our drone. This is the current status of the construction of our project. This is looking west. So on the left side, you see there's a lot of construction going on. We're in the middle of building 2 retaining walls. There are 2 out of 11 total retaining walls that are being built right now. The train tracks are running down the middle of the, running up and down the middle of the picture there. What we did there in the light colored tracks, those are new temporary tracks that we had to build because while we're building this project, we also have to maintain railroad traffic. The trains can't stop moving. So we have to build while the Metrolink and freight trains are still going through. In the meantime, we've demolished the old tracks, and we're going to be building up that railroad bridge from underneath. To the right, you see Olympic Boulevard, and then further right to that, it's kind of cut off by the frame, is where we're doing utility relocations on the north side of Montebello. So. You can see that there's not much space between the railroad tracks and Olympic Boulevard. It's maybe 200 feet, if that. So it's a very, very tight space where we're trying to build 2 new bridges. We're trying to also build retaining walls at that location, abutments, bridge piers, doing a lot of excavation. So that kind of leads into my first request here tonight. Next, please. So the next step that we're expecting next meeting in the next 3 to 5 months is we're hoping to close Olympic Boulevard to both directions at Montebello. We're going to be moving in all of our heavy construction equipment. We're talking excavators, cranes, bulldozers, dump trucks. We are going to install shoring, temporary shoring, tiebacks, and we're going to begin excavating for those 2 new bridges. And then we're going to begin drilling the piles, concrete piles for the bridge abutments and the bridge bents. So my first request here is to close Olympic Boulevard in both directions, east-west, where Olympic meets Montebello Boulevard, as you see there. The red outline shows the footprint of the closure that we're requesting.
Yeah, the next slide, I think. The diagram, or you want to still see on this one?
We're right here?
Yeah,
I'm
we're not
sorry.
seeing it on our screen. There you go. There you go.
Sorry about that.
Now we can, thank you.
Sorry. So what you see there in red will be the footprint of the closure that we're requesting of your commission tonight. We have shaped the footprint that way because we're trying to we will also try to maintain access to the driveways that are there so that the residents that are there still have access to their driveways while we build around, while we close Olympic and build around what's currently out there. Next, please. So zooming out from the aerial, what you see at the bottom highlighted in purple is what we're asking for, which is to close Olympic in both directions. That's shown in purple again. The areas or the street segments that are highlighted in yellow will be open, but it will be open to local access only. So we'll try to maintain access for residents that are there. Also businesses. What's highlighted in green is the existing truck routes that's been approved by the city. And associated with this request is item number 3 on your agenda, which is to approve or deny the temporary use of 4th Street between Olympic and Whittier Boulevard. So that's the street segment highlighted in green off to the right side of your screen. That's where we would expect trucks to use that street in order to gain access to the businesses that are on Olympic Boulevard, east of Montebello. Next slide, please. So the justification for our request to close Olympic is that building these bridges are very, very complicated work. If we don't close Olympic Boulevard, and in other words, if we try to maintain traffic going east-west on Olympic while we build the bridge, we expect that construction to take 29 months. If we are able to close Olympic to build the bridge, we expect construction to take 23 months. So there is a lot of construction efficiencies in closing down Olympic. We expect that we can reopen Olympic Boulevard with a new bridge to traffic in both directions 6 months sooner. And that's part of the reason why we're here, that's the reason why we're here tonight. We'll also, like I said, maintain local access to the businesses and the residents. The east-west traffic that would normally be going on Olympic can be diverted to Whittier. And we also expect that traffic on 4th, 5th, 6th, and 7th streets will be reduced because what we see from the vantage point of our construction trailer, which is right there where the old Shell gas station used to be, what we can see is that there's a lot of traffic that goes east on Olympic that are just through people finding a shortcut. They're just going through the city, going through 4th, 5th, 6th, and 7th on their way up to Whittier, on their way to somewhere else. At least that's what we can see anecdotally from being out there every day. So we know that Olympic Boulevard east of Montebello is not currently a designated truck route, but we also know that there are commercial businesses right there, which are shown in the triangular piece between Olympic, Montebello, and the railroad tracks. So what we did was we did over 1 week in June, we did truck counts at each of those businesses. We set up cameras and we actually counted over a 1 week period, 24 hours per day, how many trucks were entering each of those driveways, because we wanted to gain a picture of what does the truck traffic really look like. So what you see there in red are the traffic count devices that we installed. Again, 1 week, 24 hours a day. So this is what our study revealed. We only studied, that's the right slide. We only studied the trucks that are highlighted in red, in the red box. So these are 3-axle, 4-axle trucks. And we divided up the trucks that we saw, that we counted per address. So you can see there it was 413 West Olympic all the way to 707 West Olympic. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 businesses in total where we counted their truck traffic going in and out. What we discovered is that on average, there are about 11 trucks that access those 6 addresses every day. Most of the trucks that we counted were for the recycling business, right there at 513 West Olympic. Okay, next slide, please. And this brings me to my second request of the evening, which is to install a temporary stop sign at Greenwood and Truck Way. What you see before you is an engineering schematic. North is facing to the right. What we would like to do is for Greenwood going northbound, right before Truckway, we would like to install a stop sign at that location. We will also install some pavement markings, some cross-hatching in the intersection right there, just to bring more visibility to drivers, to draw their attention to the fact that there are train tracks coming by. Please don't cross the train tracks until it is clear to do so. Next slide, please. And the justification for this temporary stop sign is to prevent cars from stopping on the railroad tracks when traffic is congested on Greenwood. The CPUC, which is the California Public Utilities Commission, they are the governing body that governs railroad crossings throughout the state of California. We've been in discussions with them. There's a lot of worry that cars are still crossing the tracks even though there's not enough clearance on the other side of the tracks to do so. So they agree that this is a safety measure. This is only going to be a temporary measure while we work on a future traffic signal which will be installed at this intersection, which will prevent that kind of congestion there. And that brings me to the end. Thank you. And I'm happy to answer any questions.
Okay. You have any questions?
I do have a question. So as the speaker spoke before you in the comment, are the residents going to be informed of what you're doing prior to?
Yes, I'm actually here with my coworker. Her name is Maria Cano. Maria Cano is our community liaison. She is the member of the team that actually goes knocking on doors, physically walking door to door, handing out flyers, answering any questions. I believe Maria is also going to be at the city's. There's a community event going on at the end of the month, at the end of July. Mm-hmm. She's going to be there. Maria's been at some of the farmers market events also with a table in case there are any questions. For example, we had a water shutoff near the Roosevelt Avenue area, and we physically delivered water bottles. So we try to be as accommodating as possible to residents because we know that our project is a lot to deal with. But Maria will definitely be there to help with the notifications.
Thank you. It's because we have so many residents in D4, and that was my concern.
And Maria Cano, Chair and Commissioners, I would add that we'll also do the same kind of extensive outreach that we did for original Montebello Boulevard closure, which will also include a notice within the Montebello Reporter, as well as we will also be doing timely so that we have notice ahead of time, as we want not only the businesses but residents to prepare ahead and have an opportunity to ask questions in between before the actual implementation. So we'll be, in addition to the different options that we'll use or opportunities to notice, we will also be doing door knocking as well, that Carrie mentioned, to make sure that we get to them before they don't need to feel that they have to come to us. We'll make sure that we hit the individual corridor that we expect to be the primary impact.
Thank you so much for that.
Commissioners, and if I just may add, just in terms of the community engagement, this is actually something that we coordinate quite a bit with the Sangre Valley COG. We do weekly meetings, and they're mostly internal planning meetings, but our public works, our fire, our PD, our planning folks. So there's quite a bit of coordination that happens internally where we're kind of figure out what's the best way to disseminate information. So everything that you do is really good. They're doing their part, and then we do our part to assist them as well. So if you notice, a lot of the information that they're talking about or they're going to distribute to the community, yes, they do the community events as well, but we share on our social media, we share on our website. So we're really doing our best to try to make sure that the residents are informed as possible. Also, in terms of coordination, for example, our police department, enforcement, we need to coordinate enforcement. So as I'm seeing this, Yes, anecdotally, if you drive down there Olympic right now, a lot of the folks aren't really driving down there because I think they know that's not really an accessible point at this point, right? Because of Montebello Boulevard being closed. I think it actually will help somewhat with the truck routes. Now, I'm a little concerned about the ancillary trucks now that may be looking for other routes, but that's something that us and our departments need to figure out in terms of the enforcement and signage and things of that nature. But yeah, we appreciate their support. They're very hands-on. Every time that we have a direct complaint from a resident or business owners for that matter, Maria and her team are more than willing to kind of go and personally talk to them to make sure that they're put at ease. So we're very, very hands-on. We're very sensitive to the impacts of this project. But keeping in mind 6 months is a long time, right? So I think while we need to bear, a little inconvenience in the short run, it'll move a project along substantially.
Yeah, and thank you for that. And I know we mentioned residents, but I also want to make sure that businesses are also, we're taking them into consideration, especially during this time that we're promoting so much of our small businesses, and we're all supporting as much as we can. And I know our city is doing such a great job, but just make sure that way they're not further impacted.
And yes, my apologies for mentioning residents, but in fact, we have a very, what I would say, beefy approach to our business support as well. Not only are we doing what we are currently coordinating as far as free advertising, but we also do individual signage that directs traffic. In case there's some confusion with the outlining of our traffic controls, we do not wait. We just get out there and make sure that their signage is appropriate. As a matter of fact, I'm also working with one of your other city departments and working on some banners that are within code, but that still offer some support at designated specific hubs to provide additional visibility for the businesses.
Thank you.
And if I can just add, Maria and I will also be appearing before the Rotary. Is it later this month? We're appearing before the Rotary to make a presentation, and if there's any support that any of the Rotary businesses need from us, if they're impacted by our project, that's another way that they can reach out to us. I can't remember what date that is, but July 16th.
Okay, now it's my turn. Sorry. How you doing, Maria? I'm seeing you before.
Yes. Yes.
Okay, we'll start first. One is closing up Olympic. From what street on Olympic? From end to end. You have 7th Street on one side, and you have, Spruce on the other side, with a little street. Is that from there to there, and that's the only closage?
No, let me try and ask Samantha to go back to one of the slides. It will be slide number 10. So slide number 10, what you see outlined in red is what we propose to be closed. That's the footprint of the closure of Olympic that we're asking for approval. So the closure will be before 7th and before Spruce. And the reason why it's shaped like that is because we want to preserve access to the driveways that are on the north side of Olympic, on either side of Montebello. So there's a residence there right on the northwest corner of Olympic and Montebello, so they'll still have access to their driveway, for example. And then on the other side, I'm sorry, I can't remember what the address that is, but they'll also still have access to their driveway.
Okay, from condo to condo. Okay, so that section be closed off. All right, I always wonder because I know your outreach is good because I've been to your outreaches, a couple of them. And what I was thinking was because the condo's right there, right in the corner of
Yes.
Los Angeles, and that's before 7th Street, right at the corner.
Yes.
It's just, I was looking at that. That'd be closed off, and I just wonder how they can be able to do it. Are you still gonna have No, not really. You can't have that little open space for the parking right now because it'd be closed off, that section.
The Montebello, I'm sorry, you're talking about the Montebello Village HOA?
One, yeah, HOA right there.
Yeah, we've had meetings with them. Maria also corresponds with them. They still have access. Their driveway is like an L-shaped, and their driveway empties out onto Los Angeles Street on the north, and that won't be affected by the closure.
Okay.
I'm trying to think what else. I wanted to explain the construction efficiency portion of this request. Like I said, the distance between the railroad tracks and Olympic is maybe 200 feet. I'm guessing it might even be less than that. If we're able to close down Olympic, it just means that we're able to move our construction equipment. These are big pieces of construction equipment that we're dealing with. We're able to move those pieces of equipment a lot easier, a lot faster in between the two locations while we work to build both bridges up at the same time.
That's my question. Now, the next one.
Okay.
You had the one where you make the trucks go up Los Angeles, up 4th Street.
Yes.
Okay, I hate that because I live on 4th Street. I right in the corner.
Yes.
I seen 2 cars get swiped by trucks making their turn there. That's a tight turn. You know, it's a dead end. You guys know where it's at exactly. It's a dead end. People still run at stop sign. You have stop signs. I don't care. People run them. But is that turn? The street's not that wide. With cars on both sides, I seen the trucks go right up the middle, where I had to pull to one side. And that's the whole thing. Is that part what gets me? The trucking in there going down Los Angeles. As it is bad enough, you know.
Yeah, we understand that it's not the ideal location. In talking to the City Department of Public Works, we understood that 4th Street has the traffic signal where 4th Street meets Whittier. So we assumed that would be the route that trucks would take, just because of the traffic light that exists there already. Obviously, with today's technology, a lot of people have navigation in their cars. A lot of people use Waze, and we could post signs that say, you know, traffic, please detour to 4th Street, but they would probably disperse and use the other streets as well, is our guess.
Chief, if you don't mind kind of talking a little bit of just, you know, the enforcement that we kind of do in such situations. I think if we do this, when does this get implemented, Carrie?
We would like to implement it as soon as September.
Okay.
So the closure starting in September.
So maybe it's something that even initially, right, we can't have folks there 24/7, but as we make this transition, maybe have additional enforcement. But do you mind kind of walking the commission in terms of how that looks for you?
Yeah, certainly, City Manager and Commissioners. So what we would do in a situation like this is if it was approved, we would start with an education campaign using our social media, using all of our resources to alert the community that there was going to be this change. We would then put our traffic unit to go out and initially probably do a lot of stop and warnings, a lot of stop and education, because if someone's lived in that area for 20 years and all of a sudden there's a change, it could be confusing, so we'd want to be cognizant of that. But once we did ample education, ample warnings, then we would certainly start the enforcement. We can do our traffic unit to be directed to do enforcement there, but we could also assign our patrol officers and our special problems unit to go out there and do enforcement. And it would be a combination of trying to do a lot of education, but then also, we also have the ability to do what are called warning citations, which look like a citation, but they're just a warning. And that's another way that we can use to track, for instance, repeat offenders that may continuously go in there and then always want the warning or not enforcement. And the ultimate goal, obviously, would be to do a campaign that offered a safety for the construction, safety for the residents. But for me, it would be a combination of education, warnings, and then ultimately citations if they were appropriate. Also work with code enforcement and the street department for proper signage and proper things of that nature.
Answer my question. That sounds good. My point, I mean, it's education. We have to educate everybody that lives on that street. People back out of there, if they see a truck coming, you know, that's the whole thing. I mean, I live right there, you know where, in the curb. I go right into my driveway, on my driveway. I had trucks go from my driveway, I see them now. And I go, oh, it's sort of tight, but they make it because they go to that little 1, 2, 3 little places there. They got that auto body and those. So I just want it because of that, because it's gonna be. I think it's gonna take a lot of time for the residents to get used to that, even though it's for a few months. It's still, you're used to it. It's in your mind already. This is your way. This is the way I get home. This is the way I go home. Now I gotta watch out for a truck, and they do now on the trees on top. Do they hit them? There's big trucks. Okay. And we can look into that, because they do hit the trees to get the branches come down. Around my corner, right when you get in front of our place, little trees, they're gonna hit them. They work out on that.
Yeah.
That's only 2. I got another one after that. I'm feeling full of them. So I live there. Like I've been there over 20 years in that area. So I've seen it. You know, about my place there, but I've lived there for about 25 years right there in that area. Maybe longer. But I see that. And the only thing, I worry for the residents. We're safety, traffic and safety, which is safety of the people. And that's what we're all about. So let's go ahead and look into that. Now, what was the next one? I got lines on. Or study. Okay, the other one, I do agree on your putting a stop sign on Greenwood.
Thank you.
It's been done a long time, to tell you the truth. I seen cars trying to beat the truck. They hear the train, they train right across it. They beat it, but by how much? Next time somebody won't beat it. And so I do like that, putting the stop signs there for the safety of everyone there, not only the drivers. So I do like that one.
And again, that's just a temporary measure because we also have another contract to install the safety features at Greenwood, Maple, and Vale. So in about a year, those intersections will have traffic signals at Greenwood and at Vale at Greenwood, that will actually stop, that will know when a train is coming. It'll know to post red lights on either direction to prevent cars from coming in at all.
You were saying you could put 4 arms now?
The quad gates, the 4 railroad arms will be at Maple.
Okay.
And then at Vale and at Greenwood, we're going to have 2 arms on either direction with a median, with a concrete median in the middle.
Okay.
And that'll prevent cars from driving around unless they really want to go off-roading, but that'll prevent cars from driving around. That's a safety feature that we've worked out with the California Public Utilities Commission.
Okay. That's when Maple, that's where the school is.
Yes,
Okay,
yes.
That was a big one.
Yes, we're actually trying, we've done outreach to the school as well. Maria, this is before I ever came to the COG, but Maria and her team actually did an assembly at that school to warn the students of the dangers of messing around with trains.
Right. Okay, I have a question. You have the bridge going under the railroad, and then you're going under Olympic, right?
Yes.
So where did it come up on the other side?
So it'll come up, so as pretend you're driving north, you go under the bridge, you go under railroad tracks, you go under the Olympic, and it'll start coming up right around Los Angeles Street, right before Los Angeles Street.
Okay, that's what I want to know.
Yeah.
So be Los Angeles Street, so that's be a crossing before you cross there.
Yes.
In another note, I know that you mentioned that this would take effect, the stop sign in September, potentially in September.
The stop sign on Greenwood is something that we would like to implement right away because the cars going over and parking on the railroad tracks is something that we see, or something that we have seen. So we would like to implement that ASAP.
And since students are off for the summer, I'm always going to advocate for parents, so that way when parents come back in the fall to school, working with the school leadership or the board here in Montebello, just to make sure that parents anticipate that when their children are returning to school in the fall, that they'll experience a change here in their commute possibly.
So we have a couple of things that we're doing, we're planning with the school district. And even before these particular changes will be implemented, we've done outreach to the 4 identified schools that the superintendent and their staff had mentioned feed into that area. So we'll be working with that same group. Definitely our focus will be the Maple school there. My apologies because I'm forgetting ATC. Because obviously they are literally impacted. Now, they're not only by the happenings at the underpass, but most directly by what is the improvements that will happen on Maple. So we've beefed up our approach to that, being not only working with the parent center, obviously the principal, superintendent, and their team, but also with the students, as we've had in the past, where we've gone directly in and developed like an engineering cohort of, and we play it out for the full 6 months or the year, where we're working directly with students outside to sort of not just about safety and railroads, but really about maybe potentially careers in engineering. So we're doing a lot of that we plan to do with the school as well.
Absolutely. And right by ATC, we also have the Heart of Compassion. They do a lot of events for our community, and it can get very congested for our residents in that particular area.
And they're also part of our list of outreach, identified outreach.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
I have one more.
Yes.
Well, I can come over my head.
You can ask the next question.
Oh, we'll be here for an hour. The whole thing, okay, you're gonna repave only just a section. Are you gonna make it all the way to the 4th Street to repave all that? Since you're gonna have to close it and repave it. Are you gonna go all the way to 4th Street? Because
When it's completed?
yes, the reason for that, the trucks now that go on there, it's picking up everything. It's broken up. I mean, I go the other way. There's times I already got a flat there from hitting one of the holes there. So if that was even pinch a hole right now, I'll be happy.
So on this one, Carrie, let me take this one on and report back to the Traffic Commission. I want to say this is probably in the pipeline pretty soon in one of the street in our SB1 street repaving program. But yeah, let me get back to you on this one. But this is on us actually down the line. Now that said, we don't want to make street improvements while these impacts are incurring, right? So it's probably. So you need to work with us on the timing, but let us get back to you on that one because this street is something that we have in the pipeline. Okay? Cool.
And I just want to go back to Maple. Mr. Alvarez, you'll be happy to know that the Maple house that we had acquired is now gone.
Just for the Traffic Commission's reference, not really specific to you guys, but we had a house, a property that the San Gabriel Valley COG owns. It was used for various uses, and then unfortunately, transients moved in, and there was other things that were happening that shouldn't have happened there. And then they thankfully worked with us, and the house wasn't habitable anymore at this point. So they demolished the property, so it's no longer a nuisance location for that neighborhood. It's right across from, right across from Broguiers, if you can picture that.
Any more questions? Anything else?
Want to entertain a motion?
Yeah, this is entertain a motion. Anyone? I'll entertain a motion to approve the items.
I second that motion.
We need it first.
Oh, we need it first?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
I second.
We'll go first to approve the motion.
And I'll second it.
Okay. Roll call, please.
We have a motion to approve this item, motion by Commissioner Hernandez, seconded by Commissioner Takayama. I will now commence roll call. Commissioner Takayama?
Yes.
Commissioner Hernandez?
Yes.
Chair Bias?
Yes.
The motion passes.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Really appreciate it.
Excellent presentation.
Item 3.
Yes, Chair, Traffic Commissioners, item number 3 is a consideration of an always stop sign study at the intersection of Harding Avenue and Taylor Avenue. Providing a presentation is Mr. Dennis Barr, our engineer.
Yes. Good evening, Commissioners. Yes, the item is stated as an always, I'm sorry. Yeah. The item is stated as an always stop sign study at the intersection of Harding Avenue and Taylor Avenue. We'll start off by stating the recommendations. It is recommended that the Traffic and Safety Commission receive and file the always stop sign study that was performed for the intersection. Second, approve the city traffic engineer's recommendation to deny the request for an always stop at Harding Avenue and Taylor and to install red curb on the intersection approaches as shown in attachment B in the report. The report gives some background information as done previously. It talks about the requirements for always stop as related to the manual of uniform traffic control devices. I've included in the report the volumes that are required, the 300 vehicles per hour for any 8 hours an average day, the combined vehicular peds and bicycle volumes entering from the minor street. They have to average at least 200 vehicles per day. And then there's another caveat in there that if the 85th percentile speed on the major street exceeds 40, and then those values can be reduced by 70%. And one last item is mentioned in the manual, where no single criterion, then they have a combination of criteria where if you meet 80% of the identified items, that would meet the warrant. The report starts off with giving the existing conditions as noted in Figure 1 on page 2. We have Harding Avenue, east-west roadway, prima facie speed 25, stop signs at the intersection with Taylor. That Figure 1 gives you an aerial view and also talks about there's an existing red curb in each corner of the intersection, which complies with the daylighting law. And there's also street lighting there. The next pictures in Figures 2 and 3 of the report give you a street view, what it looks like on the approaches, and you can also note that there are street light fixtures in the corner of the intersection, providing lighting there. Figures 4 and 5, again, gives you another open view of what it looks like when you're driving down the street at Harding Avenue at Taylor, and in the north and south directions, respectively. So to evaluate the request, staff went through and collected traffic volume counts. We also looked at the collision data based on the TIMS model that's provided by the state of California and accessible by everyone. We looked at the ADT, looked at the collision data. The ADT, I'll mention, was not met. Collision data-wise, again, there were no accidents at the location. The report I've included, it talks about the daylighting and the red curb that we can enhance safety at all intersections, including this particular one. If we install red curb, which more or less is implying what the daylighting law is. Conclusion based on the facts that we reviewed by staff is that the volumes were not met, nor were the accident data. In the attachments of the report, we've included the summary of the volumes at this location for reference. It's in a summary report that highlighted in blue. You can see the value or number of the cars and vehicles using the intersection. And then basically the program looks at those numbers, looks at the MUTC cutoffs, and it also supports that always stop is not warranted. In Exhibit B, I've recommended that basically installation of daylighting or red curb, which would comply with the law. And that's stated in the beginning of the report, which is the second recommendation. And with that, I'll be happy to answer any questions that commissioners may have.
Any questions? Yourself, Sandra?
None, because according to the warrant summary and the criterias presented, none were satisfied. And I'm going based on that in the recommendation being presented.
Okay, I do have a question.
Okay.
You have Taylor and, what is it, Hardy?
Yes.
Okay, that's why I go across. Is there a stop sign on 12th Street or on Park? Or is that a freeway all across?
I can't answer that one. I've been out there, but I don't particularly recall. I won't go on my memory. Sometimes when looking at a neighborhood, if you're looking at speeding control, sometimes one can consider putting additional stop signs as one methodology to do that. The other consideration is if that particular location were on a safe school route. And that's another caveat that can be used for installation of traffic control devices. Not the case in this particular situation, but in terms of your question about the stop sign at the other intersection, I can't recall that.
Yeah, because if it is, it's a long ways. I just have one. We have the one on Third Street because it's a long street. Okay, this is a long way from one side to the other. Cars, they figure, well, not a stop sign there, might as well hurry and get to the next one. Go right by them. Myself, I would like a stop sign there because I don't see no other stop signs there. I don't even see any red curves on the other one, pictures there, so I could say there is a stop sign there. Going to 12th or parking on 12th Street, I don't see no red curves on any of those, so I don't think there's any stop sign there.
Well, it's the picture that we have shown in there, unfortunately, figures number 3 there. You can show some of the red curve in there at that particular one. Again, when it's wide open, when the intersection, there's no obstructions to the motorist, that allows the motorist to make an intelligent decision as he approaches there. And so unless there's some obstruction to his view, then the average person will have an opportunity, oh, there's a car coming, and I can come to a safe stop or to avoid a collision.
Yeah, but the only thing I see there that you have on is Washington Elementary School right there. I know the school's right down the street from there.
Right. I don't know if this particular, I can't tell you what the safe school routes are within the city. I don't know if we have that map or not. They are, you can retrieve them from the TIMS. So the TIMS, not only does it do accidents, but you can also, the state has put some of the safe school route maps on that in the database. So that's something I could check out, but right now I don't have an answer for you. But my decision was based on the facts, based in the summary sheet attached to the report gives you a summary of the volumes that you can.
Right, I see.
Okay.
I just wondered about that because I was just wondering. It's straight away, no matter what. You get to what is it? All the way till you get to what is Maple. It doesn't stop sign there. That's a straight shot. And myself, I would like to see a stop sign there. Why? Because the school people cross there, go to school, which is Washington. And myself, I like to see four-way. It's even better than no way, I say.
Right, I understand. When I look at it, based on the facts of the research, is that if you have an unwarranted stop sign, that people just tend to ignore them. And that's based on research, not my research, but so.
It's the research they have. Because like I said, we did it on Third Street. I was straight away through. Since that happened, everybody across the street now. And I just see the same problem with this. It's the opportunity for everybody to stop, look both ways, then go ahead. If I safety, I like the safety. So myself,
Yeah, Commissioner and Chair, another commissioner, I totally understand, obviously, we always want to, safety is the most important thing, right? But we also need to consider that as a city, we need to make decisions based on the evidence, right? And these are not the standards that the city create. These are state and local regulations that determine what makes a stop sign accessible or why a stop sign should be approved or not. But my concern is that staff going based on the evidence that they have, they're presenting to the commission, and I think we should consider it, right? Because once we start putting stop signs everywhere, it leads to other liabilities for the city, what causes other issues that could also lead to other issues as well. But my other thing too is that yes, you're right. The school is there as well. I will say from experience, I don't recommend that either the commission or a council make any decisions without the school district being involved. I'll tell you, I get requests all the time surrounding schools, and it doesn't align with what the schools actually want. So I would say specific to what we have right now, I would ask that consider it based on the evidence that the council has. You can also in the future just we can reassess, but I would say that the school district, and I actually push for that the school district have a role and be proactive and engaging the city, because it's actually happened before where we have approved things, we think that they're improving the areas around the schools, and then the schools tell us that they're not happy about it. And that we're missing that big part in the conversation that we don't, I frankly, and we all know this area, we all know the schools, we all know the kids and everything that crosses, but without knowing exactly what the school district wants, I would say that complicates things a little bit more. But like I said, you can approve it right now, which is basically not approving the stop sign. We can come back in the future if we still feel that, if the commission still feels that it's an ongoing issue, but I would say if we reassess for the future, we need to have the school district involved as part of, so we can get their assessment as well.
Just for clarification, we would be making a motion to do the red curbing? Yeah, repainting of
I
it?
stepped away for a second, right? It's for the red curving, but denying the always stop sign, correct?
Right, yes, I denied the stop sign, but recommend the red curve to be in compliance with the daylighting law. That's an easy fix.
Yeah.
You can ask that we go back or bring it back and take new counts. These counts were done back in December, before, not by me, but the other traffic engineer had the counts done. So you could ask as a consideration that staff look at it, take new updated counts and bring it back and contact the school district as well for additional information. And that's another option you have.
Yeah, I'd like to bring it back.
okay, same thing.
All right.
So you could make you could
You
table
could
the
put the
item.
red curve in now, you could be that part, you could approve that if you
And then table
agree.
the stop sign.
And then still bring the overall intersection back for a restudy by staff and bring it back to the commission for review.
Table,
Is that retable?
No, you can approve the red curve and then
table the sign.
give direction to staff to I would say frankly, give us 6 months or so, because that's it gives us enough time to redo counts and then also to coordinate with the district and have more information. So come back. So yeah, I mean, I would recommend that motion, approving the red curve and then giving staff direction and come back with 6 months with additional information regarding the always stop sign in coordination with the school district.
Yes.
Okay, we'll go with that way. Improve the red curve in about 6 months, come back to this, look over this again.
All right.
With a new count.
We'll take new traffic volume counts there as well as PED counts to when school's in session, just to give updated information.
I make a motion for that, to approve the red curbs and to come back in 6 months and make the determination on it.
Okay.
with new traffic volumes and ped counts.
I second that motion.
Roll call, please.
We have a motion to approve the red curb at this intersection, but come back in 6 months for the always stop sign study at this intersection. I will now commence roll call. Commissioner Takayama?
Yes.
Commissioner Hernandez?
Yes.
Chair Bias?
Yes.
The motion passes.
Go to the next one. Item.
Yeah, item number 5 is 1140 Maxwell Street, blue curb application. Speaking on this item is engineer Mr. Barnes.
Excuse me, item number 4.
Oh, we're on 4? I'm sorry, did I jump ahead? See, I'm trying to move the meeting along. That's what I'm trying.
Okay.
No.
We're on 4.
Yes.
Okay.
Item number 4, always stop sign study at the intersection of Keenan Street and Via San Delaro. Mr. Barnes?
Yes, thank you, Commissioners. This location, again, was brought forward to the Public Works Department, a request for an always stop at the intersection of Keenan Street and Via San Delaro. The recommendations are to receive and file the stop sign study for the intersection, so it's in the city's record system as such for having been evaluated. The second part of the recommendation is to approve staff's recommendation to install red curb at the intersection of Keenan Street and Via San Delaro. Okay, so background information like the prior intersection, I repeated the criteria as stated in the MUTCD, the accident period in a 12-month period, the other stipulations in the volumes, the accidents, the ped counts, and the approach speeds. That was part of the report on page 2. The existing conditions are presented, and figure 1 on page 2 gives you an aerial view of the location. To clarify, the location is a T intersection, Keenan Street T into Via San Delaro. There's no stop signs at this intersection, but they have street lighting. On the next page 3 of the report, we have included gives you a different street view looking in the north and the south directions, so you have a better view of what we're looking at. You can see there is some red curb already installed in some of the corners as such. We also have additional pictures on page 4 looking on the east and west direction via San Delaro, again giving you a view of the location. In terms of our analysis, we again looked at the counts that were performed to install the all-way stop. The volumes were again too low to meet the volume criteria. We also looked at the collision diagram, or what we call the SWITTERS information that's provided in the TIMS. This time we've included one of the diagrams from the TIMS report. And how it comes out, it shows you there, it tells you how many accidents or so forth are occurring at that location. There were no accidents there at this particular location. In addition to that, we repeated the daylight law about the importance of having a red curb on the approaches, so if there are any pedestrians that are crossing the street, then that opens it up so no parked vehicles would block the driver's view as they approach that intersection. And figure 7 of the report, on page 6 of the report, you get another view that the conclusion was to deny the all-way stop, but to put in some red curb as shown in figure 7 on the approach to the intersection to provide that no car parks there, so motorists traveling in the southbound direction has a better view, or in the westbound direction, of anybody that might cross the street. And again, the basis of the red curb is the daylighting law, which we repeat down there for your information and for the record under the legal requirements of Assembly Bill 413. With that in mind, I'd be happy to answer any questions. As noted in the report, recommended to deny the all-way stop because the criteria is not met, but to enhance the potential for safety and to enhance visibility for motorists in southbound or east-west, recommend the red curb shown in Figure 7. With that, happy to answer any questions you may have.
Any questions?
It's a comment. I'm always for red curbs. I think that really helps with the safety. But there was no collisions.
No, no collisions, no. So,
I'm in agreement with that. I'm always in favor of those red curves. It really helps.
What are the questions? The motion?
I make a motion for the red curbs.
I second that motion.
Roll call, please.
We have a motion to approve this item by Commissioner Takayama, seconded by Commissioner Hernandez. I will now commence roll call. Commissioner Takayama?
Yes.
Commissioner Hernandez?
Yes.
Chair Bias?
Bear. Yes, yes.
Sorry. The motion passes. Sorry, Chair.
I was looking for the other person. Okay, we'll go to the next one.
Yeah, now we're back to item number 5. I know I was getting it to that earlier. This is a 1140 Maxwell Street blue curb application. Mr. Barnes?
yes, thank you, Commissioner. Staff received the request from a resident requesting a blue curb. They submitted all the appropriate documents as required by the city's policy. I repeated in the report, we repeated the information about what the requirements are, and that's on page 1. I won't go through each one, but the big one is I guess to be cognizant is, does that resident have a garage? Does he have a driveway? And is it the width of the driveway, if it's 14 feet or 17 feet? And does the vehicle he has for his access, for his disability, is it a lift vehicle like a van, or is it a conventional passenger type vehicle? That information was presented. On page 2 of the report, I've included the existing conditions here to give you aerial view as to where it's located as such. Page 3 of the report, I've shown you a street view looking at the resident's home. He has unfortunately, this particular picture you can't see as well, but there is a fence there across his, how to describe would be, by his garage, he has it fenced off and he has like a patio furniture occupying that space there. Took that into consideration when looking at, and I was out there, I had another picture there I did not include in the report, but it was just a little bit further over looking up at the house. My conclusion was that he has adequate driveway space that he could basically unload from his van or a passenger car and still maintain access to his house. So the garage width in that, the 14 or 17 feet did not really come into play, but in my opinion, he has a usable space, and therefore, based on that, I recommended denial of the blue curb request for parking out on the street there. And with that, I can answer any questions.
I have a question. So this is a single home. This is not, because it's so close. These are not apartments. This is, and I can't really see his driveway, but he does have his driveway.
I mean, I was looked at that too. He's not really using the driveway, his car fits in there, like I said, he went through the whole requirements on it. I mean, even if you put a truck out, I mean, there's no use, he's not using the driveway. It can be just open for guests.
Right.
So,
And you can see that on page 3 of 4, that, I mean, you can see that space that's available there. Covered a little bit by that red car, but the space is available.
There's plenty of on-street parking available, but he has adequate space within the driveway. It's a wide driveway that you could unload from there and gain access to his home. He's elected to fill up his area next to his garage full of patio furniture, and he has, a gate across that. That's his choice, of course.
okay. I'd like to go ahead and put a motion to deny this space.
I'll second it.
We have a motion to
Yes,
deny.
sir. Hold on.
Oh, yes, I'm sorry. Yeah, we should have probably asked that. Yeah, do you have any public comments for this item?
We did not have any public comments on this item, sir.
But Chair, you're allowed if you want to let them speak. Yes, sir.
Absolutely.
Good day, Council. My name is Joe Armenta. I'm the one who submitted the application. Let me just start by saying that it's not for me. It's for the people that really need it, which are my family members. My mother-in-law, she's 89, frail, barely walks. My mother, she has multiple disabilities. She needs assistive devices to be able to ambulate, such as wheelchair or an electric scooter. And also our neighbor. Our neighbor is 1144 Maxwell. He's an ex-pastor. He suffered a stroke, and now he's wheelchair bound. They're the ones actually often are parked in that corner spot right there that we're requesting. They're often using it because they can't park in their own driveway because it blocks garages and it's in apartments. So they can't, they may unload there, but then they have to move their car. And I understand streets, it's public space. We share it and we have to go by it. One of the reasons we submitted the application is because it gets really congested. You guys probably went to see when it was free and clear, maybe at 11 in the morning, but afternoons around 3, everybody's getting home. The people on Spruce, there's an apartment complex. They love to park on our side for some reason. There's plenty of spaces over there. The streets over there by the park everywhere, but they like to park on our side for some reason, and that gets full quickly. And so we have to play dominoes with our cars, go back and forth by the time everyone gets home. But I'd like to point on the matter you guys are talking about the garage situation, the driveway. So you guys are denying based on that we have ample space. Unfortunately, the gate that's there, it was installed by the previous owners. It doesn't open and is not accessible by vehicle. It opens towards the street, and it's very awkward how it opens. Because if you look at the aerial view, the driveway, it's like at an angle. And so when that gate opens, it doesn't open enough for a vehicle to actually go in there. So I don't have use for my garage for the purpose of storing a vehicle. The previous owners of the house, I don't know if this is relevant enough, they built rooms in the back. So our garage, even if it was accessible by car, our garage cannot store a car because it's not big enough. But the main thing is that the angle of the driveway doesn't allow for the doors to fully open and actually go in with the vehicle. Furthermore, the driveway itself, it's less than 14 feet wide as you guys have on your requirements. It does start off at the mouth of the driveway at 16 and a half, almost 17 feet, but then it narrows down to 11 feet. And on the left side, which is the driver's side, there's a tiny little wall, like about this high, about a foot or 2 feet, which separates the driveway from like the grass area. So that makes it very difficult to get out of the car and let alone have a mobile device like a wheelchair and be able to move for someone with disabilities. And even for me, I find it difficult to be able to have my mother go in the wheelchair and then have to go back and go around. And then I have to go on the grass. So that puts my mother in danger of sustaining a fall. Furthermore, it says right here that it has to be a fourth of an inch per foot of a slope. I measure myself, and it's about shy of an inch per foot. So it is on the slope. And that puts my mother in danger when she comes home. She's the one that drives. And this is, again, not for me, for my mother that drives still. And because it was on a slope, we had a situation when the car rolled back and her foot got stuck. And that little slope, it's just enough for the car to roll back if she didn't put it, adequately on drive. So because of that, we told her, don't park there. Park when you get home, just anywhere close by. But she has disabilities and she can't walk like more than 10 feet without getting short of breath. So this is one of the reasons we would like for this to be installed. So we put little round table with 4 chairs to enjoy our courtyard. It's more of a courtyard than a driveway now, because we can't access it by car. And the gate, while it serves the purpose of safety, it doesn't open enough for a car to go in there.
Commissioners, we appreciate this information. It's important information. However, we do need to make decisions based on the information we have. I know the resident mentioned, for example, the neighbor who may have access. We would welcome that neighbor to apply for the blue curb permit if that's the case, as they have those limitations. But specifically to your application, and we can't control, we don't govern what happens in your own private property, right? We just have to make the decisions based on the data that we have, based on the engineer's evaluation. You don't qualify for a blue curve because you do have access through your driveway. Beyond that, we can't. We can't make judgment calls. At least we can as a staff. But like I said, the issue with the neighbor who may have limitations, well, we would welcome that application and reconsider as well.
So I presented some facts that my driveway is less than the 14 feet wide, which it says right here. The driveway goes down to a narrow of 11 feet wide. And also the slope, it says right here, 1/4 of an inch. It's about an inch per foot. So if you guys want to reassess and see if that's indeed accurate, yeah, I would suggest doing so.
We appreciate that information. I would really trust our engineering staff who specializes in these exact measurements. They wouldn't provide inaccurate information in a staff report like this. I'm sure you believe that's the information you have, but we have to go based on the engineering specifications. They have specialized equipment that to a T determines what the length of these sidewalks are.
The report here that I see, which is the same, down from, it doesn't say like the specifications of my driveway. It just tells me like what you guys are looking for. So it doesn't say here, it just simply says that you guys are, the applicant has a driveway that has adequate space on site to accommodate their needs. That's very vague. It doesn't specifically say it is 16 feet wide or it is very vague.
Yeah, we don't govern private residences. We can't get into the specifics of your property beyond that. It's only up to the right of way. So the sidewalk up into your driveway, we don't get into those details.
Okay.
The commission, you want to consider it or deny? Again, the staff is recommending it now just because of there's adequate ADA parking at the residence as of now.
Okay, we're gonna have to leave it the way it is right now. Maybe later on, you go ahead and reapply. We have engineers go out there and look at it again. We do that. Deny it right now and later on reapply and had engineers go down.
Well, Mr. Barnes, I don't think the specifications for this specific issue are going to change, right? We don't.
Right, because it's private property. We don't go in there and be measuring.
We don't.
And, once we go beyond the sidewalk, which is kind of where the right of way, the sidewalk in the back of the sidewalk, typically 6 inches to a foot is the right of way line.
Yeah, we can't go in as private property. We can't tell beyond that. Now, as an option, I did mention if there's a neighboring person that's disabled that has the issue, we would welcome that application and reevaluate based on that person's specific application. But we can't anecdotally include it as part of this decision.
Okay, sorry about that. Do we have a roll call, please? This is for denial.
We have a motion to approve this item by Chair Baez, seconded by Commissioner Takayama. I will now commence roll call. Commissioner Takayama?
Yes.
Commissioner Hernandez?
Yes.
Chair Baez?
Yes.
The motion passes. This application is denied.
Item 6.
You got it, sir? Yeah, okay. Item number 6 is 100 Natasha Lane red curb installation request. Mr. Barnes?
Yes. The, yes, the location as stated in the report is 100 Natasha Lane. The request was for a red curb installation. The recommended action at the beginning of the report is to approve the city traffic engineer's recommendation for the addition of 7 feet of red curb markings at the requested location as shown in figure 3. The resident submitted a request to the Public Works Department about other vehicles blocking their driveway and access. We went forward in this report to talk about the daylight law and what the requirements are, why it was put into effect, and so forth. And basically, the report was prepared to show the basis as to why we look at installation of red curb at different locations. Page 2 of the report, we show the existing figure, the location as such. Prima facie speed of 25 is a residential area. Figure 2 gives you a clear view of the resident address. You can see the short space there with the that little curb by the crosswalk. We reviewed that, looked at the measurements. On page 3 of the report, conclusion was that, yes, the daylighting law we would recommend, because of the crosswalk there, we would recommend installing red curb to be in compliance with the law. And we recommended 7 feet as shown in figure 3. That was definitely enhanced safety and precludes anybody from parking their car there and that would block their driveway. So we also repeated the Assembly Bill 413, the daylighting law, for the benefit of the commission and also for the record of the report, so it's on file as what our basis of our analysis was. With that, I'll be happy to answer any questions that you may have. Our conclusion was to install the 7 feet of red curb.
I have no questions. It's in compliance with the daylight law.
Yeah, I would like to go ahead and get approval on this.
I make a motion to approve.
I second that motion.
We have a motion to approve this item by Commissioner Takayama, seconded by Commissioner Hernandez. I will now commence roll call. Commissioner Takayama?
Yes.
Commissioner Hernandez?
Yes.
Chair Baez?
Yes.
The motion passes.
Go item 7. Red curb on 230 Cedar Court, red curb request or removal.
Yes. Thank you, Commissioner. I'll start off with the report repeating the recommended action is to approve the city traffic engineer's recommendation for removal of 10 feet of red curb markings at 230 Cedar Court as shown in figure 3 of the report. We received the request. Citizen expressed that they had a need for additional parking. They made the initial inquiry to the Public Works Department to why it was put in and so forth. And then they brought forth there's another issue with they need additional space for parking there. So with that in mind, we proceeded to document the existing conditions, aerial view on page 2, and then on figure 1, we show the, I'm sorry, it looks like it slipped. Actually, it's figure 2. We show the existing red curb there. We can see the bumper of the white car. And with that in mind, we then proceeded to see, could we remove any of that red curb to assist the neighbor, the resident, with allowing some additional parking. With that in mind, in figure 3, on page 3 of the report, we concluded we still could comply with the daylighting law with 15 feet of red curb, but the amount of red curb installed out there was over like 2 car lengths. So we could remove 10 feet, which would assist that person with a smaller car, that they would have some additional parking in front of by their residence. And that was the recommendation in the report.
No questions.
No questions. I think that would help, most definitely help those, the residents there.
Okay, go ahead and, do we get approval for this?
I make a
To
motion.
approve it?
Yes.
I make a motion to approve it.
I second that.
We have a motion to approve this item by Commissioner Takayama, seconded by Commissioner Hernandez. I will now commence roll call. Commissioner Takayama?
Yes.
Commissioner Hernandez?
Yes.
Chair Bayes?
Yes.
The motion passes.
Okay, go item 8. It's the 148 South Maples Avenue, another red curb removal.
Yes, thank you, Commissioner. I'll start off with the recommended action in the report is approve the request for removal of red curb space at 148 South Maple. Again, the resident had made the request to remove some of the red curb. The first part of that request was, why was it put in to begin with? As part of the daylighting law, that information was conveyed to the person. I had the opportunity to go out in the field when I was taking pictures of the residents. A lady came out of her house and she started talking with me, and what were you doing? I taking my picture. So I found out she's actually an engineer with LA County, and at that resident right on the corner there, and she had a complaint really about street lighting, but she was sharing her concerns with me, and I explained to her what was the purpose of the red curb. But on the side street, as we go into the report here on page 2, the red curb is showing there in the in figure 2 in front of her residence, but I don't have a picture of that side street. If you look at that red curb to the right of that, we also have red curb on that approach, and it was done for some distance down that side street, so that opens up the view to see. And the other corners of the intersection, I was out there, it has red curb as well. After speaking with her, and you can see she wants a brighter street light, but I mean, in terms of the red curb, the conclusion was, after I talked with her, looked at the existing conditions, is that we could remove that red curb in front of her residence, as shown on figure 3 on page 3, and we've shown it as white or graying out the red curb there. Because the other red curb, and I wish I'd taken them on my phone, and unfortunately we didn't get those in this particular report here to show you, but there's basically a red curb in those other corners there. So we could remove this red curb and still be in compliance. On the approaches, which are coming from the other direction as such. And on the side street, the approaches are covered by red curb as well. I told her to contact Mr. Roldan or Caesar about the lighting. She says she did her calculations, because she does this for the county, and she put the figures in their computer program. And she says we need a brighter bulb out there. So I didn't disagree with her, but I mean, that's what she does for her expertise with the county. So I told her to contact Samantha, and I don't know if she made the phone call or not, but that's what I suggested, that she handle the lighting, analysis, or her request for a brighter light. So I was surprised. She was an LA County engineer, civil engineer. That's what she does for a living with the county. So, so the recommendation was that it was to remove that red curb in front of her residence as such, and we'd still be in compliance with the daylight law, and we will try and address her complaint about the street lighting as such.
She need a job?
Well, I have a program too, so we can do some checking. I needed a brighter light to see for those who may or may not know, when you go up to a street light, normally if you look up at the bottom, there's numbers up there.
Right.
You may see a 10, which means 100. 15 would be 150. That is like the wattage of what you're looking at there. And so LED is a little bit different now, and she went talking LEDs, so there's another conversion chart that I have that could share with you that, 100 watt high pressure sodium equals so much LEDs. I mean, because we use LEDs today. So we will address that, but for this particular resident, recommended that we remove the red curve, and we will take a look at the lighting request.
Okay, do we have a motion to approve this item?
I'll make the motion to approve the item.
I second that.
We
Roll
have,
call, please.
we have a motion to approve this item by Commissioner Takayama, seconded by Commissioner Hernandez. I will now commence roll call. Commissioner Takayama?
Yes.
Commissioner Hernandez? Chair Bayes?
Yes.
The motion passes.
Okay, that's another thing. Let's go to our commission roles.
Yes. Okay, so today I'm going to be talking about the 52-foot trailers, which previously passed through our District 4 and now are stopping and resting for extended periods, sometimes for days at a time. This situation is causing several concerns, including traffic congestion, safety hazards, and potential violations of local zoning regulations. I know on the council level, D4 Councilwoman talked about bigger signage, but I just feel we need even more than that. It's time to be writing those tickets and collecting the money for our city for repeat offenders of various trucking companies. I appreciate our code enforcement, but when they keep parking, and as you can see, the one picture that I sent in that clearly shows, and they can stay there for days. And the code enforcement goes up and talks to them, but they're still there. So when you start writing those citations, they're going to start changing their mind about parking there and sleeping. Basically, he was sleeping there.
So this was reported to code enforcement?
Yes, it was.
Okay, so thank you for bringing this to our attention. So let me do this. Well, I'm concerned about this. Last year, we actually enacted a pretty strict oversized vehicle ordinance. You're not allowed to park in the street. We actually go beyond citations. We actually tow vehicles. So let me, for a future meeting, we'll agendize it properly. I'm going to ask our planning department if they wouldn't mind just giving a presentation, just because it does impact traffic concerns and the safety concerns that you might have as a commission. And if you don't mind, we can give you a presentation on the oversized vehicle ordinance so you can understand how it works, how it's implemented, and then we can just kind of figure out how we address these issues. But for the time being, I would recommend to the public, to you, Commissioner, continue reporting these vehicles. Let me know if it's an ongoing issue, but we have a pretty strict ordinance. In particular, in South Montebello, we've had a very serious issue of oversized vehicles being parked in streets. We've had dealerships park their cars in our streets for numerous hours, campers, I mean, you name it, trailers, hitches. We've had hitches where they'll leave their hitches and their vehicles there for many, many days. So we did pass a pretty strict oversized vehicle ordinance, as I mentioned. So if the commission's okay with this, we'll agendize it for a future meeting and we'll have a full presentation on that.
That's perfect, yes.
I guess I'll go to mine now. Okay, this one I have on there is the one with on Cleveland and Popular. If you come up Popular and Cleveland's there, well, you really can't cross the sign like Cleveland because you can't see either side. And they come down Popular, going up or down. Cleveland is a stop sign. That's the one. But the problem is you can't see those cars coming up the corner. They're racing up and down the corner. I did it on purpose. I want to go sit. I sat there and watched this guy sit there 5 minutes trying to cross. Even though he tried to inch out, you got to go back. You can't do inch at a time to cross that street there. So I'd like someone to do a check on that. Go out there and check the corner, that block. It's a T intersection. And it's really rough going through there, because I did good, like I said, I got a thing on it, I went down, I sat there and looked. I go, my God. I think and I tried it, I go, nah, I ain't got that good.
You're trying to walk across, right?
You could walk or drive, it don't matter. Popular is a straight hit, once you make that turn, coming up, you make the turn going north on it, it's rough. It's a rough thing.
Any visual, like large trees or anything obstructing view, or?
No, people, this cars racing, I don't know, they're not even red curves there around the curve. I don't know if they're red curves. But I just need to be checked, see what could be done, because that one thing is a resident there brought it to my attention. And not only, so I asked him, because I live right there, and I can't even get on my driveway. And because, like I said, Popular is busy. It's like a main.
You think that one of those intersection signs, the intersection ahead, with the like lights, yellow lights around the border of them would be beneficial?
On both sides, on Popular, because Popular don't have like stop signs. Cleveland does, going out. Popular doesn't. So I would say if we could look at the two signs, one out here, Popular, out in north and south, put those signs there. So that way they know that somebody wants to come across. Because it gets real rough there.
I see. Normally the warning signs, and I share that like I did with the lady they like kind of, we assume like for most signs 50 feet per inch legibility. So what that is for an average person with 20/30 vision. So we all don't have 20/20, but so if the letter height is like 6 inches, that means that you could read that sign at 300 feet. So depending on the situation, you want to give it advanced, better notice to a motorist. We might go larger, 8 inch, 10-inch letters on the sign, a little bit larger sign, but it makes it more visible further back. And the other thing is that all the signs that I put in, I recommend diamond grade sheeting because for those who may not know, diamond grade sheeting is like if your headlights hit it, it's like a light bulb going off. They light right up. And they have a longevity of 10, 15 years, where the normal signs that most agencies put in about 5 years. Because it's cheaper, engineering grade as opposed to the diamond grade. So I always recommend the diamond grade because it's highly visible, and nighttime or the lights, you'll see it from home. Even for the illuminated street name sign, you can order the diamond grade sheeting for those signs as well. The power goes out and you can still see the.
I've seen those before. Yeah, but the only thing I like to see is those signs on Popular. I mean, yeah, Popular, because coming out of Cleveland, you got your stop sign, but Popular don't have either way.
Okay.
So go look at that and look at that. And,
Check it out.
The diamond grade are perfect.
Yeah.
I mean, I've seen them before. You can see them halfway down the block.
Right.
So when your light hits it, it's a beam.
Right. 3M Corporation one that developed years back, and it works very well.
Okay, thank you.
So yeah, allow us to kind of add this to the queue so we can look at it. I want to say, Chief, you and I, we did a community meeting in that neighborhood 2-3 weeks ago, I want to say. And so we're actually looking, there's a lot of impacts there in that neighborhood from parking, speeding, street conditions. We did talk about this one. I want to see Mr. Barnes, my memory serves correct, I think there was a request already and it was denied previously on Cleveland, but we're going to look at possibly other options. So maybe we can look at that as well. So let us do some research. Let us see what possibly can be done. Give us a little bit of time to report back because that whole area has a lot of impacts that we're looking at addressing.
Okay, the next one is, I have a question though. On 4th Street, I'm going back to 4th Street. We have single residents that double park. They double park in Middle Street, you can't put another car behind them or in front of them.
Side by side. You're talking about
I'm talking behind, back to back.
back to back,
Yeah, I mean, they're taking 2 spaces because they want to come out, whatever the reason is. I mean, come on.
So Chair, if they're double park or you see any parking violations during business hours, call the city. Code enforcement goes out, and then after hours, call our non-emergency line for the police department, and they'll send out somebody to check it out and handle.
Yeah, we've had a lot of people that residents there. They'll put the car right in the middle when you the two-car place.
Yeah.
It's dead center. I go, we'll put it back. Mine, yeah.
Yeah, we're happy to come out. I would just ask the residents, everybody, just call it as it's happening, so we can have somebody go and address it immediately.
So we go to code for that?
Yeah, so during Monday to Thursday, 7:30 to 5:30, call the city, code enforcement, and and parking enforcement, and then anything after hours or weekends, you call the non-emergency line for the police department. I don't remember the number off the top of my head, Chief. You know it? There you go. Even could you call it that often? No.
They know my name. Nobody knows.
It's 323-887-1313.
I called and go, hey, no.
And then, Chair, you had one more. You had one more item on Wilcox.
Wilcox.
Yeah.
Okay, school's gonna start again. I can tell you, I've been on this for this whole year and the year before. My wife was at school. I know a lot of schools there. The last day of school or 2 days before school ended, we had 2 ladies almost punch it out. Again, they park in their car, they get in their car, leave the car in the middle, and the lady comes out, well, you blank you, I'm picking my kid. Well, how do you think I'm trying to do? We're trying to get around you. But they're just parking there. Everybody. Even the residents trying to back up. Oh, excuse me, you're blocking my driveway. Yeah, but pull back, but no, they park in the middle of the street. It's a narrow street, it's a real narrow. And I just wanted to do something about it, have a drop off and gone. Not just sit there and an hour and a half before school.
Chair, yeah, I hear you on this one. I would really ask, we really need the engagement of the school district and the school in particular. And fully aware of the issues here at Wilcox Elementary. And this is my concern with us taking, yes, we're responsible for the streets, we're responsible for parking, but it needs to be a collaborative effort. And so I'll give you an example. Last year, one of the issues that was brought to my attention, and it wasn't the school, it was actually a resident, was that our trash trucks were impacting. They were actually they said that they were doing the trash pickup during pickup or drop hours. The signage we actually saw was during pickup and drop off hours. So residents would park on one side and then they would go to the other, or they would get tickets. It was just adding a lot of issues. It takes a lot of time and effort for us to make changes like this. We worked with I know Cesar's not here today, the Public Works Director, and we actually made adjustments to that. We adjusted the truck routes, we adjusted the timing, thinking that would address it. And unbeknownst to us, it wasn't even our trash trucks. It wasn't. We weren't the ones impacting it. The school district has their own trash service. If you notice, they have not changed their routes. So, well, I feel like I kind of wasted my staff's time where we made changes that weren't really our fault. So we really need the school district involved. We really need the principal. We need the administrators. It does not help the situations that you're describing for us to make these improvements when the school district's not working with us, right? And I'm not saying they're not willing to, but and on this one, like I mentioned with the other school, I don't have a problem engaging them. We don't have a problem having conversations, but we also need for them to do their part. And I'm telling you on this one, we rerouted trash trucks, we did new signage, changed schedules, and then I keep sending pictures, and it's not even our trash trucks. Because they have their own contract, they have their own, and then it's unfortunate they're literally doing pickup. So they go into the school during pickup and drop times, which was creating the chaos as well. So
all these parents that are complaining, they should go to the school district.
I think we need to figure it out together. I would say that we're willing to do our part, but it doesn't help for us to make changes without the school having buy-in. And it's across the board. There's other schools that we've made changes, and then the school tells us afterwards that that's not something that they were supporting. So we also have to trust that they know their schools, they know the students, the parents, their traffic routes, all that. So I would say yes, we can definitely look at it. Give us some time. We can talk to the principal and the administrators, but it would also be helpful for the community to also bring this up to the school district, because it's also a school district problem as well.
In addition to the trash time, I also know that there's food delivery time. As a person leading in the educational systems, there is food delivery, and many times it impacts the dismissal time for schools. So a conversation for residents that we can have is really, yes, go to that Board of Education, but something that needs to be shared by school leadership would be, what is the plan? What does it look like? Because every school is should provide a plan for the morning and also for dismissal for safety, and that requires traffic and safety. And I can speak from both of us from personal experience leading those strategic plans and sharing those with the community and also with our city. So there's a lot of factors when it comes to leading a school district, and therefore I think engaging them in this conversation and highly encouraging residents to support us with that would be ideal.
So we're happy to get the ball rolling. We'll engage them, but I would say it also is helpful for them to hear from your commissioners, your traffic and safety commissioners, that they hear that these are things that we're trying to do, and then if we can hopefully partner up so we can make mutual changes. Thank you.
Now, next month you guys are, the council is on, what are you guys on?
Yeah, that's correct. The city council goes dark the month of July, so there's no meetings until August 14th.
So the same with us, so we're dark also, or?
No, commissions are still,
Okay.
so you meet the last Monday of each month, so July 31st, 30? Is that how many days are in July? But, well, the last Monday in July, we'll have a meeting as planned.
It will be July 28th.
There you go.
All right, I'd like to adjourn this meeting. The time is, I can't see.
7:53?
7:53. So meeting is adjourned. I'll see you all July 20.
Happy 4th of July.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
I'll see you.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you.
Mhm. You said the 20th?